What's happening? What's good, everybody? This is the Boxing Source, and this is so-called late night edition of Boxing Talk. No, we are, I guess it's 12:09 a.m. on the East Coast, but I'm over on the West Coast right now. It's 9 o'clock, and I wanted to go through the news that came down over the course of the day. Like a lot of stuff that's been going on, a lot of stuff that we can talk about. And we want to go through this whole thing with the Showtime schedule, plus that news of Vergil Ortiz Jr. Not being able to fight this Saturday over in Los Angeles. And we're going to, try to get through that here as much as possible, man. But, you know, wanted to just jump on in, talk about the fights that were scheduled on Showtime. A couple of things that, Steven Espinoza did talk about over the, that release that happened earlier, today. That was around like, 1 p.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. West Coast time. And, I was going to go through a few of the fights, you know. So, I want to just get right into this joint, man. First they, talked about this card that is coming up pretty much around next Saturday. And it's going to be in Minnesota. I think it's at the Armory that they usually hold fights in. Um, and it's headlined by Tim Tszyu versus Terrell Gausha. Tim Tszyu, of course, son of Kosa Tszyu, um, had been on the news in the boxing front as he was pretty much added on to the premier boxing champions roster, so to speak. This is, kind of like building up to that particular announcement that he was fighting Terrell Gausha. Now, uh, at first, it was rumored that it would be a co-feature, to the bout that was supposed to happen this coming weekend, as we were supposed to have that undisputed super welterweight championship fight with Jamel Charlo and Brian Carlos Castano. It was supposed to be March 19th, but you know, you had the whole thing there with Brian Carlos Castano and his, issues as far as like not being able to make it for that particular date. So that fight has been pushed to a later date, which we'll get into later. For right now, you had Sue, Gausha. Gausha has been floating around there at the 154-pound division, for a few years. He's been in a few notable fights over the past 4 or 5 years. And here it's just that he's had these couple of fights at 154. Just had, fell short against some of the more notable fighters there in the 154-pound division. Terrell Gausha is there with a record of 22 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw. He did have his last fight with the TKO over Monte Clark over in Uncasville, Connecticut. But he's lost to Arislandi Lara. He's lost to Eric Lubin. He had a split draw with Austin Trout. And had a few other fights. The Arislandi Lara fight is fairly notable to some people because that one headlined an event there at the Barclays Center. And for those that either tuned in live or were actually at the Barclays Center for that particular fight card, they know what I'm talking about with that instance. So that kind of is, what we had as far as the fight card, as far as like that main event, March 26th, co-feature bout. You will have Michelle Ali Rivera against Joseph Adorno. Um, that right there, that right there is going to be a good fight in itself. There with that particular, that particular bout. Michelle Rivera, there, floating around 135 pounds. Doing this thing there at 135. I feel like you know he's going to be trying to make a name there in the lightweight division. It's just that we got to see where he's going to be able to position himself uh, might be in the WBA. He's a fairly ranked, fairly high ranked fighter there in the WBA rankings. He's at number two under Rolando Romero. In the IBF rankings, he's there at number seven, and for the WBO, he's ranked at number 10 there. So, he, has that as one thing where he can get himself, I guess, build himself up as one of the things where he can, get himself in the uh, world title contention there at 135 pounds. But he will be going up against Joseph Adorno here in this particular fight card. Uh, Ali Rivera does have a shot to kind of like make a impressive thing there. But going up against Joseph Adorno, who's also undefeated. He's had two consecutive draws there after winning 14 consecutive fights. So this is going to be undefeated versus undefeated there in that co-feature bout. Uh, Joseph Adorno has 14 wins, 12 of those wins by way of knockout. Um, and like I said, has lost. He resides around Allentown, Pennsylvania. So um, he's kind of like going through a little bit of a step up here in the competition, even though he had his last fight against Vergil Ortiz, which was a good, pretty good fighter himself. Vergil Ortiz did have a recent win over here Albright, last month, where he nearly like swept here Albright in that particular bout. But in this particular instance, when Ortiz faced Dorno, that ended up being a majority draw. So it's going to be a pretty good bout between Michelle Rivera and Joseph Adorno. And you're going to have also part of the card, Elvis Rodriguez will be in the ring against Juan Jose Velasco. Of course, Elvis Rodriguez is, someone that, may be notable in a way. To a few boxing fans. Elvis Rodriguez, had like a pretty good little string of victories that were over in Las Vegas. He had a good amount of fights that were at the bubble in Las Vegas in 2020 when most everything was locked down and they started to have fights over at the bubble. He had a string of KO victories up until he got into 2021, and in 2021 he had a unanimous decision win over Luis Ron, and then going up against Kenneth Sims Jr. He was, pretty much outpointed to a majority decision, and that ended up being a loss, his first loss of his, professional career. But he was able to, bounce back from that and get a win over Juan Pablo Romero there last November as part of that card, um, headlined by Canelo Alvarez versus Caleb Plant. So we did have him, trying to get himself back into, the winning ways. And like I said, he's going up against Juan Jose Velasco, and that is going to be, I think a good little scrap there. You know what I mean? It's going to be, I think it's going to be the second fight there for Elvis Rodriguez. Under the PBC banner, I guess. Going up against Juan Jose Velasco, who scored a split decision win over Zach Ochoa last year. This will be like the first fight since February 20th, 2021, therefore Velasco. So with that one, to me is going to kind of like open the show with some, good fireworks there. So that is the card there for March 26th. You go into the thing for April 9th. Of course, headline Erickson Lubin versus Sebastian Fundora. This will be at the Virgin Hotels Resort Casino in Las Vegas. Erickson Lubin, Sebastian Fundora, WBC Eliminator. Of course, Erickson Lubin had been the contender for the WBC belt, 154 pounds. And the fight card that I mentioned with Terrell Gausha and Arizona Lara headlining, I think this was one where you had Lubin there versus Jamel Charlo, where Jamel Charlo was able to score that first round knockout victory over Erickson Lubin. And Lubin, ever since then, has been building himself back up to get him another world title shot. You know what I mean? So you have that, and now he's going up against Sebastian Fundora. Uh, Fundora was it like 6'7" at 154 pounds. Um, you know, there's been a lot of hype behind him. Um, the towering Inferno there, like I said, 6 foot, pretty much like 6'5", but it almost looks like he's 6'7". But he did have his last fight December against Sergio Garcia. He got a unanimous decision win in that particular fight. But watching that fight live, man, mm, man, I don't know, man. I thought Sergio Garcia got him. You know, that he got him. But uh, Gondor, it's pretty much is originally from West Palm Beach. You have Erickson Lubin, is based around the Orlando area. So, this is like an in-state rivalry. I think they've had like history back in the day leading up to this. So I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to that particular fight. I think that's going to be one of the better fights of the year. And you also have one of the fighters that I mentioned that was on the bad side of the decision against Sebastian Fundora, and Sergio Garcia. Sergio Garcia will be facing Tony Harrison. That's right. He is going to be facing Tony Harrison in the co-feature bout. And of course, Tony Harrison was able to, score the only. He's like the only person to be able to defeat Jermel Charlo, and he was able to win that WBC belt over Jamel Charlo years ago. Then they had that rematch where pretty much felt like he was outboxing Jamel Charlo as long as he was able to keep the distance from Jamel Charlo. And it just ended up getting too close. He got knocked down early in the fight, and then got knocked down again. In round 11, and that was pretty much it for him in that particular fight. I think that I felt like he was winning the fight. Two judges didn't think so up to that point. But he was just that close to defeating Jamel Charlo again, and who knows if he was able to score that win, how the 154-pound division would be at this particular point. But ever since that loss to Jamel Charlo, he's only had one fight since. That was against Brian Perella, and that ended up being a split draw there for that. So now you got, I guess you have like a crossroads fight of sorts. They're at 154 pounds with Tony Harrison and Sergio Garcia. And it's funny because I mentioned Sergio Garcia as an opponent or former opponent. Sure. Now we have a previous opponent for Tony Harrison as part of this card in Brian Perella. And Brian Perella is going to be facing Kelvin Salgado in the opener for this April 9th card in the Virgin Hotels casino, man. Shout out to Fighter IQ there, checking in real quick, man. Big ups to you, man, for checking in. Um, but yeah, Brian Perella against Kelvin Salgado is going to be opening this particular bout. I mean, Brian Perella, if I'm not mistaken, Brian Perella is kind of like coached by Roy Jones Jr. or something like that. And like I said, he was there, and Perella was fighting there against Tony Harrison in the Exposition Center in Los Angeles, and looked like he was getting the better of Tony Harrison for the majority of the fight. But it just ended up being a result of a split draw for Brian Perella. But now he should be able to try to get back into things here against Kelvin Salgado. I think this is Kelvin Salgado is from Mexico. I think it is. That's undefeated at 14-0, if I'm not mistaken. So that is, that three-fight card that's going to be in on April 9th, followed by April 16th. Of course, you have the big unification fight, Errol Spence Jr. versus Jordan. We know about the things there for what's in pay per view, and also they're going to have a couple of fights that will be shown on Showtime. But in the pay per view card, we might have some more fights included in this. But as of right now, you have, of course, unified champion. You have the WBA welterweight champion Yordenis Ugas. They're going to be fighting in the main event there in the Dallas area, and it'll be accompanied by Isaac Cruz Gonzalez versus Yuri Ortiz Gamboa, two fighters that were former opponents of Gervonta Tank Davis. They're going to be facing each other, and then we're going to also have Jose Valenzuela versus Francisco Vargas as part of the card. But what you do have on Showtime leading into the pay per view is going to be headlined by Raza Butayev versus Iamanis Stanionis. That, is the bout that kind of like was set up in order for Errol Spence and your Dennis Ugas to face each other. As Stanionis was slated to face your Dennis Ugas, but Ugas was able to, get himself in there for this fight. Oh man, checking in, man. Late night. It's the man, Mr. MVO, checking out from the Brookie Down Bronx, man. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, JR, man?
Yeah, man. Man, he got a whole lot of news coming through today, man. I was like, damn,
Man, fuck
crazy.
boxing. I don't give a fuck about boxing no more, man. I don't give a fuck.
It's like, we can't ever have good things.
Yeah, man. What AB said to Radio Raheem, fuck you and fuck boxing, brother.
Yeah, yeah. Fuck you and fuck boxing, brother.
Yeah, man. Fuck boxing, man. These Jaime Munguia, just retire.
Oh God. That mofo, man. Listen, oh my God. Yo, I'm forever roasting him, man. I'm forever roasting Jaime Munguia. All right. Until eternity. Okay.
But I'm roasting Charlo too.
Uh
Because
oh. Sulaki.
Like, come
Sulaki.
on, dog.
Oh
You
man.
couldn't come with nobody better than Sulaki.
Like, come on, man. Like, yo, man. My thing was, but I say my thing is this. Yeah, he really thought. I guess they really thought that they could have got, Jaime Munguia, right? They couldn't do that. Um, damn, man, they couldn't. But I guess Adamas. I guess Adamas. That was the thing. Out. That's the other part I didn't get. You mean to tell me that you could have tried to get the fight with Jaime Munguia. The whole thing falls apart because of Oscar being on this BS, whatever it is, right?
Crack.
Mm-hmm. So you mean to tell me that if y'all had word that Jaime Munguia and Golden Boy were still trying to get in on fighting Carlos Adames, why don't y'all cut them off and have Charlo fight Carlos Adames?
I'm gonna tell you why.
Okay.
Carlos Adames is ranked behind Jaime Munguia. Now, what do we know? We know that the number one contender, the WBC, would let them negotiate for a fight for the title outright. And maybe not with the number two contender if Munguia doesn't give up his space. The only time we heard that Munguia gave up his space was from Mike Coppinger. How do we know Coppinger is right? Coppinger claimed that the WBC ordered the mandatory to be basically scheduled for Tuesday. I didn't see anything on the WBC website. Did you? So how do we know they really ordered it? Maybe it hasn't been ordered yet, and they're going to order it, and that's why Adames wasn't allowed to step in and just get the Charlo fight outright.
Or maybe Golden Boy probably had some inside information about
It's possible.
and and that's why they didn't go forward with it. But even with that, I'm like, all these years they had Munguia there at 160 in a position to fight for a world title, and he still
Hmm.
hasn't fought for a world title yet.
Passed on Demetrius Andrade for the belt,
Absolutely.
the
Yep.
WBO.
Yep.
Passed on Charlo for the WBC.
Yep.
Passed on Jenna Beck for the mandatory for the WBO.
Yep.
Passed on Adames maybe for the mandatory for the WBC. It's looking
Potentially.
like
Hmm.
this is not a good look.
At
It's
all.
not a good look at all.
That
And
is
you know
why.
I'm a Munguia guy. I like Munguia. I feel like Munguia is one of the probably between him and Charlo. Honestly, I think they're the two best guys at 160, which is why I was looking forward to the fight. And nothing, man. It's like you can't have nice things, man. Anytime you get your hopes up and you think that um you're finally gonna get what you want, what you deserve, you know,
Hmm.
people just disappoint you, man. And that's just not boxing, that's life.
Yep.
It's fucking life, man. It's me rooting for the Mets every year. It's me rooting for the Knicks every year. You know, it's fucking uh
It's like
boxing.
it's like
It,
you're rooting for the Jets every year.
yeah, it's like everything I love turns to shit. Okay, and it hurts, kills me inside. Cause now I wonder, maybe I'm not meant to love anything. Maybe if I didn't feel so passionately about Charlo versus Munguia, it would happen. You know, it seems like all the fights I don't give a shit about happen every time, but the ones I care about, man, I just need Deontay to come back. That's all.
Oh, oh yeah. Real quick. Speaking of that, there was one person, uh, there. that did kind of ask Steven Espinoza about Deontay Wilder. Kind of like said he really hadn't heard what Deontay Wilder would do, um,
Uh huh.
and that if there's anything for him to come back, he would love for him to come back on Showtime. Uh,
Absolutely.
but it would be something I guess to where it would cap in, maybe August or September or October if possible. You know,
Yeah.
so we'll have
Well,
to wait and see on that.
you hope Wilder comes back. It's like honestly, boxing is shit without Deontay. It's boring. It really is. I don't care what nobody said. Like, say what you want about Deontay Wilder. This man brought the excitement back to the game. Every time this guy fight, you feel like the fight could end at any moment. And even when he was in his wars with Ortiz and Fury, he showed like the type of like nuts and guts that you look for in a fighter. And it's just disappointing, man. It's very disappointing. No Deontay Wilder, no Charlo versus Munguia. It's like, well, what are we doing as boxing fans? What's the point?
Like nothing with this May 14th card, like Charlotte Castano too. But even with that, you know what? Given the news of Saturday's card,
Yeah,
I'm not so sure that Castano's gonna make this.
exactly. Who the fuck knows? Why? Explain to me why I should get excited about any fight that's announced. Don't forget, Charlo versus Castano too was supposed to be this weekend.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So we talking about it like it's a fait accompli. When who knows? Who knows?
Like I said, when I talked about the Tim Zoo fight, I was like, that Tim Zoo fight was supposed to be the co-feature
Yeah,
to Charlo Castano. And then that stuff happens. I'm like, come on, man.
you just
That's
wonder what
crazy.
the fuck is going on with the sport of boxing.
I don't know, man.
And it's Oscar De La Hoya, and I like Oscar. I do. I swear I do. I like Oscar, man, but he really fucked me over, man. Like this. Come on. We was
Yeah,
gonna
we
get this fight
deserve
as part of our regular Showtime subscription, but this motherfucker want to put it on pay per view all of a sudden, and he wants the Zone to be involved. The Zone has to be involved, even though they're putting up none of the money. That's unheard of.
unheard of. And actually, he should have just kept quiet. Reason why he
Yeah.
should have just kept quiet is because
All he did was piss more people off.
they piss more people off, including people on the zone. So,
Yeah.
think about it is like, if this is the people who the black people ain't going to do, they don't care if it's on Showtime in the U.S. All they got
Yeah.
to do is see if they get the right shit in the other countries. That's it.
Exactly.
All they care about.
Because we know they don't care about the U.S. operations no more. Like that's why I don't get. And the funny part is, I think the Zone put it out there. Hey, we didn't want no pay per view. We don't know what the fuck Oscar talking about. Somebody put that out there.
Yeah, somebody did. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. Yeah, that's crazy, man.
It's just an
But
unfortunate thing. We can't have
yeah,
nice things.
yeah. I mean, we'll see how things go with this, man. I mean, even with the uh Memorial Weekend, man, I'm going up there Memorial Weekend, man. I got to.
What to
I'm
see
going up.
Tank?
Oh yeah,
Oh
I know
God.
you're not going to because of
Oh
Rolly.
no, I'm
But
not.
listen. I'm gonna be real. When there's Tank,
Oh
there's
yeah, he
hits.
bringing them out.
Yeah, he bringing
Yeah,
them out.
he bringing them out. I ain't gonna
Hey,
front with that.
listen. Just like I told, Coach Kenny. and Coach, Calvin Ford, man. Tank Davis is just like these Floyd Mayweather events, man. Listen,
Yeah,
fight. It's not a fight. We're not fighting.
it's an event.
It's an
Yeah,
event. Yeah. And that's what
absolutely.
he's bringing over there to the Barclays. And I remember, man, I was calling it. They were talking about possibly fighting in Chicago or New York. All they had to
Hmm.
do was have New York be fully open. And once they made that announcement, I was like, oh, there you go. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Only person not allowed to work in New York is Kyrie Irving, apparently.
Yeah. Like, come on, man. Like, how does that work?
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. So, so Kyrie, this is what's so bad about that, real quick. Those that ain't even hit that got the joint, but play for another team
Yep.
can play,
Yep.
but he can't play. But here's the
Here,
worst part: he can't play, but he could buy a ticket to the game that you have to
yeah.
play.
But that's not even the worst part. The worst part is he can play at Madison Square Garden because technically he's the road player.
He's the player.
Like, what the fuck?
What's going on, man? This is the worst. This is the worst, man. Oh man, but
This is all China's fault.
man, yo, that Barclays Center, hopefully tomorrow, I might do it tomorrow or Thursday. Make a couple phone calls. I gotta confirm if my guys in the DC area are gonna be part of this card. That is, of course, Jaleel Major Hackett and also maybe Kobe Soldier Breeden will be part of that card on May 28th. But
I
either way,
think Michael Fox might be part of the card too.
yeah, Michael Fox, he might
I
check on
see.
Twitter.
Yeah, I had a little Twitter space earlier,
Hmm.
and he intimated that he might be part of that card.
Right,
He ain't want to put it out there, but it
right,
might happen.
right. So yeah, Michael Fox might be a part of that thing too. What is it? I'd say, and since
But
it's
they
like
need a good
pay per
undercard.
view, since it's like pay per view, they might do the same thing for this one, like they're doing for Spence versus Ugas. So they might have a couple fights that will be shown on Showtime, and then four fights that will be shown on pay per view for that.
Yeah,
So there's that. Um, they got this thing coming forth back in the Armory. Of course, David Morrell having his customary fight in the Armory against Calvin Henderson, and Stephen
yo,
Fulton
who the
against
fuck is
Daniel
Calvin
Dubois.
Henderson?
Man, I don't know,
I see his nickname is Hot Sauce. Only
Oh
hot sauce
God.
I know was from Air One.
Yeah, exactly. Me too, man. Like what is we talking about? Old baby. Like, what are you doing? You know? Like, jeez, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know where. I'm sorry. I don't know where they be finding these guys, man.
For real.
Henderson. I'm like, man. Like,
I
jeez.
need to see Morale fight somebody with a pulse, you know? And
Hopefully
I'm not
soon.
saying he wouldn't, because it's not his
Mhm,
fault that
mhm.
John Ryder didn't want to fight him.
Right.
But get
But
yourself
here's
in the mix.
but here's the problem. John Ryder didn't want to fight him, right?
Uh-huh.
But then John Ryder goes into a fight with Daniel Jacobs. That's an eliminator for the belt. Has.
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense.
Hey, this is like the same thing with Jaime McGear.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, what are these fighters doing, man? This is just oh my god, this is just absolutely nuts. Um, and
You know what they're doing. It's all
yeah,
network.
yeah,
So here's my thing.
Mhm.
People always cry and complain. Oh, they all need to work together. Forget the promotional and network ties. Work together to make the fans the fights want to see. I mean, make the fights the fans want to see. But I'm starting to realize something, Jr. When they say that,
Mhm.
they only mean PBC
Yeah. Yeah.
because nobody else gets the shit that PBC gets when it comes to a fight not happening.
Mhm.
You know, Oscar De
Yep.
La Hoya should not be comfortable to do anything after this fiasco.
Right.
Zanfer Promotion should not feel
Oh
comfortable
yeah.
to do anything after this
Oh yeah.
fiasco.
Most definitely with Sanford Promotions, man. Most definitely with them. But the thing about it is, with PBC or him in boxing, is that the people that talk about him in boxing not, doing any quote unquote cross promotional fights, they don't even know that those that fighters under him in boxing have fought under other promotional partners.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, we all know how lazy the media is.
right,
And you know what? I don't even think it's laziness. Honestly, I think it's just dishonesty.
right,
They're just
yeah,
dishonest.
mhm,
I feel like I've been giving them passes by thinking that they're just stupid. No, they know what they're
mhm,
doing. They know what narrative they want to put out there.
mhm, yep. And I'll go into that a little bit too, because we went through that earlier today. Um,
Yeah.
but what else was last? Oh, that Charles Selecki joint. We know what happened with that. Um,
Sulecki. Oh my God.
I don't even know. Yo, that's almost the same situation as having that thing with David Benavidez and David Lemieux. But hey,
Yeah.
this was it. Um, and July 9th, oh, now they're gonna have Ray Vargas fighting for that WBC featherweight title. I had to be against Mike Sal, the guy that lost to a dude that had one hand. That's why I should call him from this point forward. The person that lost
Hey, I like this fight
fight
though.
with one hand.
I like this fight though.
And I mean, it's a good, it's a good style fight. Style matchup, but neither one of them can really beat Gary Russell Jr. So
Well, I like Ray Vargas though. It's good to have him back.
yeah, hopefully back at 100%. You know,
Yeah.
so there's that. Um, oh man, this Vergil Ortiz joint, man. What he said he had this, man. It's fun. It's something when you see that they say he had two that you never that you hardly
Mm-hmm.
ever heard about. You know, um, and it's crazy because when the news initially came out, uh, some of those reporters that we are talking about were saying that it may have been an issue with Ortiz's weight, and
I might believe that.
yeah, I would believe that too. You know what's so bad? I listen. I see this thing that Vergil Ortiz has posted on here, but with those first few sentences that he posted, I'm like, hmm,
Yeah, that nigga lying.
something else sounds familiar. And it said we ran some tests and the doctor concluded that he had rhabdomyolysis. And I looked that up and I'm like, bro, if you have something like that, I don't care if it was, a mild case or whatever it is, you shouldn't be fighting, my guy.
Yeah, that's true.
You shouldn't be fighting. But this is, I mean, whatever happens with this happens. If there's tests that's out there, it's out there. But he is under the promotion of a guy that said that he was in the hospital in order to get himself a fight.
ah,
So, so
I forgot about that.
yeah, so, and he posted it on Instagram. I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm like, oh. So now they were saying, oh, we going oh, ain't happening. It'll be Michael McKisson versus Blair the Flair Woo Cobbs. And
That's not happening.
oh man, they should have that happen. They
Nah,
should have
McKinson already said he turned down that fight. Well, at
he
least
told me,
cops claimed that McKinson turned it down.
oh man. And
But I don't blame them. They need to find somebody who the WBO
mm-hmm,
would accept as
and
a final eliminator.
mm-hmm.
Because that was the point of having this fight.
It was the
Like, people
final
can't lose
eliminator.
sight of that.
Yeah, yeah, no. I'm like, man, they could have had woo. Well, somebody call up Sandor Martin, call him up, see if he's ready to fight. But you know what's so bad? I'm gonna tell you what's so bad about this. Right? This fight is happening, and it was put together because Vergil Ortiz, I think it was back in January, could have had an opportunity to be in another eliminator
Yep.
against David Avengii,
Mm-hmm.
and he said no.
Yep. Seems to be the golden boy way right now.
hmm and the bad part about it is that David Avengii is scheduled for a fight over in the UK against somebody, and I'm like, oh my god, that that's just a bad break for the kid. You know,
Yep.
this is somebody that ended up what was it? Ended up ruining the whole thing with Josh Kelly and Connor Ben that was supposed to happen last year, and he goes in and takes out Josh Kelly. He beats Liam Kelly twice, and now he's going to go up against Starry Mets at Wembley Arena on
Whoever that
Saturday,
is.
like whoever that is. And I think that's the main event. I'm like, oh my
I'm
god.
telling you, man, we're in the dumps right now.
Yeah.
We're in the fucking dumps.
This is not looking, not looking at all. I'm like, come on. What are we doing out here? This is this is the whole bummer, man. Like this
Yeah.
whole weekend is going to be a bummer. It's like we had so much, we expected so much to happen, which we did, and we first hear about this thing here with Casano, and then it's Ortiz, and I'm like, man, you know what? I, I mean, I'm bringing up some questions about this man because
Yeah.
you know it's one thing when it's one fighter, but when it's also another fighter within the same mm, uh,
And let's not forget that Ryan Garcia also turned down a shot at the title.
mm-hmm, yeah, he did, and he's scheduled to fight. Oh, what was it? April. What was
Ninth.
that? April 9th. Yeah, April 9th. You know,
Yeah, if that
against
happens.
Tego, and oh
We'll
boy,
see.
you know. But yeah, you said something about that whole it's a pattern we're seeing here with Golden Boy fighters. You
Yeah.
know,
You gotta wonder what's going on, to be honest. I'm thinking maybe these guys are trying to leverage a guaranteed network deal out of the zone. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if the Ryan Garcia fight doesn't go ahead.
mm, oh, I gotta see. I gotta see where they were planning on having that. You know,
Yeah. I can't believe Oscar De La Hoya burned his last bridges as a chance to come back to PBC and Showtime.
Mhm.
You know, they were willing to work with him again. They were willing to work with him again, and and,
He's,
and he blew it. He screwed him. He really screwed them over.
yeah, he did. It's bad, man. Now I'm like, you're not gonna be able to see that happening, any,
Yeah,
in the future or anything like that, man. So, shoot, man, yes, uh, you're not gonna
it's
see.
well deserved.
Listen, I know that he's not necessarily quote unquote fully with Heyman boxing, but this kind of like shoots down. It can shoot down a chance of seeing uh Vergil Ortiz versus Boots Ennis.
Oh yeah, that's done. Hey, listen, don't even expect to see Tank versus Ryan now.
Oh
Why?
yeah,
Why would PBC try
yeah.
to do any business with this guy when he still has
Doesn't have
crackhead
that.
tendencies?
Yeah. Like it was said back in December. You work with Al Heyman. You work with Al Heyman. You work with Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah,
We're on the same. Like, come on, we like y'all just pretty much blew that potential fight from happening. You know?
and
But I
for
think,
what?
man, I don't know. But, my thing is like if you have this or you're doing stuff like this, with one company, what makes you think that other companies are going to be open with you if this stuff
Yeah,
happens with your fighters? You know? I mean, in this particular instance, I wouldn't necessarily say that, Oscar is kind of sour that Patrick Teixeira lost the belt to Brian Carlos. But um, either way, like, you gotta be able to just do business with most of the
yeah,
companies that you expect, or you want to kind of like have a chance to make some real great money.
yep.
And he's kind of like doing all that,
You
you
just
know?
gotta wonder what's going on with Oscar. And as it pertains to uh, Virgil Ortiz, I need to see some medical documentation. I want to
Hey,
see that
listen,
paperwork.
listen, 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 listen. Um, you're going to find that you might hey, don't don't be don't be surprised if you find that paperwork in the same hospital or same clinic where Dylan White paperwork, so there's that,
I
man.
need to see that paperwork. And, I feel like a jerk for saying that, but
Hmm.
when Errol Spence pulled out of the
Hmm.
Pacquiao fight,
Hmm.
one of Golden
Paperwork.
Boy's employees, Bernard Hopkins,
Hmm.
you need to see some paperwork. Now we need to see some paperwork.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, they're gonna have to come up with something. Yeah, man, it's that. And I was thinking about, oh yeah, 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 yeah. We gotta go back to this thing here with these reporters, right? And I'm kind of like seeing this as almost similar to how like boxing has been over the years when it comes to uh treating fighters of a certain ethnic background a certain way, right?
Yeah,
But here in this case, it's like they don't want to give credit to those that are reporting from a certain ethnic background. And the person that who kind of like to me originally broke the story said that, hey, you know what? Those guys are kind of upset because they can't really get the access to the fighters like we can, or a lot of the fighters like we can, or a lot of the gyms that we can. So they actually had to come through or go through a second hand source
yeah,
of sorts. Like, you can't go direct. They gotta go through somebody else, or they gotta make a phone call through somebody else. You know, instead of going straight to the fighter or going straight to the promoter or going straight to the manager, they go through somebody else that's connected to them. And for me, from what I'm gathering, is that's how they've usually done things for all this time. And now with this whole, thing with social media, this whole thing with YouTube, this whole thing with the smartphone, you could go as long as you're allowed to. You could go to the gyms, you could go see the fighters, you could go talk to the fighters, or you could go to influencers, whatever it is. And you could get anything you want.
Yeah,
You don't have
I
to go
think
out to these guys no more.
what we've realized is that
Mhm.
fighters are a lot more accessible than we were led to believe.
Yep, that is exactly right. That's exactly right. And like this, you know, last year, a couple years ago, like when 2020 happened, that pretty much showed like how you were able to access fighters. In most cases, it really wasn't that much, and that's the thing that I guess the old media tried to keep away from people. And in a sense, by doing that, they basically hurt the sport
Yeah,
because they're pretty much controlling who they want people to see instead of letting the people decide on it.
exactly.
So, man, I hope that they figure that out and just call them out one by one. You know?
Yeah, it's time that they die out and go extinct.
Yeah. It's just right on out. Just go, go away. Like if
Starting with that bald headed stooge, Keith Idek.
and it's crazy. That's crazy too because like I remember around this time 2 years ago. Well, at least before that, like February, they had that was it the Mikey Garcia fight against who is it? Vargas
Yeah,
and and Dan were like hanging out with each other, man. And I'm like, yo. And the thing about it is that I think that they're kind of upset in a way because of this particular era taking over reporting of the sport nowadays.
yeah. Dan's mad because he had to go to journalism school. Uh, he had to get a degree in journalism, do all this shit, and he
Hmm.
not hot no more.
Hmm.
You know, they not checking for him. It's cold out there in these streets for Dan Rayfield.
Hmm. Hmm. But to me, I mean, I'm gonna just be straight up. Like for him, he got to learn how to adjust, and
Yeah,
it shouldn't be, and really, it shouldn't be that difficult to adjust
well,
because all these other dudes or all these other folks out here, all they're doing is holding up a phone and asking questions.
yeah.
That's it.
Or maybe how about they ask better questions? Ask
Yeah.
questions that fans will care about.
Yeah, that's what man care about. Like, come on, man. Yeah, that just got me. And the whole part with Keith Idec today, like, kind of upset me because it's like you're gonna write an article and you're not going to give proper credit to the people that were breaking the story because we know for a fact you're not in the middle. That's number one. Number two, you ain't gonna name your sources. Fine. We could pretty much find out where you got it from, especially when it comes with Joan Boopsinas, because we know the people that are around him every single day.
Yep.
So you don't think we can find out? Come on, man. We can find out. But my thing is that when I pretty much call him out on it, and he says, "Oh, I didn't know news sources on Twitter was a thing nowadays." I'm like, bro, you ain't been paying attention. Like this stuff happens on Twitter, bro. What are you doing? So, and especially when it comes to like stuff when Dan Rayfield posts something, you don't think other reporters like Dan Rayfield, or it comes from Dan Rayfield, or it comes from Mike Coppinger, or if it comes from somebody else that's part of that quote unquote old guard, they'll do that within a heartbeat. But when it comes from somebody like me, you, YSM, or say for example with Lefty, like if there's anything that comes from Chicken Talk, do you think that any one of them will try to cite that or say that it came from that? Nope.
They don't want to admit that they are being outworked by people
Mm-hmm.
that ain't even working hard on this.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Like we live our everyday lives.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. A lot
They're
of us
being
work
out
as jobs
hustled.
part time.
Yeah,
Yeah. So.
they're being out hustled and out muscled because they not interesting and they don't ask interesting questions.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You don't think these fighters are tired of answering the same bullshit ass questions all the fucking time?
Oh, man. Or like when they ask Vince a question, or they ask Crawford a question, or they ask like they keep bringing up stuff that is been redundant over and over and over, and like these fighters aren't really, they don't wanna- like why are you talking about something else that's not part of the fight? Talk about the fight, and they don't even do that. So
Yeah.
it's just it's just ridiculous to me, man. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to go over, man. I mean, yeah, you got that Showtime schedule, but yeah, those things with that Jamal Charlo thing, that was
Yeah, the Jamal Charlo thing put a damper on it for me.
mhm.
I'm
But
not gonna
I
lie,
don't.
put a real damper on it for me.
It wasn't like it was a devil for me. It was just like, why am I not surprised that Jaime Munguia gets himself out of a chance to fight for a world title again? Like this is not
I'm
surprising.
surprised. I'm surprised because you would think that he has somebody in his camp that cares about him because
Mhm.
he's literally given up his biggest payday
Mhm.
and a title shot. And now,
Yep.
what's his path to a title shot?
World title.
What's his path to a title shot? Because at
Mhm.
some point, people are going to tell you to fuck off.
Yep. Yeah. One. Yeah.
Like, people don't like being screwed in business.
Mhm. Like there's definitely something where like
You
you
know, how many times
you
did Demetrius Andrade screw people over until people ain't want to fuck with him no more?
mhm.
You know, not everybody saying, "Oh, that was the past." Well, listen, that affects things. If you're not reliable as a person, then you get what you got coming to you. People need to be able to rely on you.
And one way or another, you have to come through. You know, and in this case with Munguia, is like who are they gonna? So who are they going to like say that they vote for, or have you?
Well, I'm curious to see how accurate Coppinger report was about the WBC ordering the mandatory and Munguia turning it down. I'm curious about that. I'm not calling bullshit, but I'm just saying that I haven't seen it anywhere else.
Mhm. Right, and there would be only if we did order it, there would be only one reason that Munguia would turn it down, and that is because maybe, just maybe, the WBO ordered something for an interim title fight.
Yeah, but
Maybe.
that passed him by already too.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like if he had a shot at that and he turned it down, then there really isn't no other path for him to go for a world title. The only thing that and the other thing that looked like he wanted to do, he can't really do is try to get a fight with Golovkin. Because after Golovkin fights Murata, Golovkin wins, and he's fighting Canelo. So then what? You know,
Yep.
I don't know. I have no idea what he plans on. That's gonna be a
I have
whole.
no idea, and honestly, I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care. We'll see.
Yeah, where
Wake me up when you announce something.
man, don't come up with somebody that you found that could you know be part of the Golden Boy roster or something like that. Like that's not going to fly well with me or something like.
I still can't
Don't
believe
tell
how
me
bad
he's
this
fighting
selected
like.
fight is, though.
Don't tell me he's fighting like someone like Emil Cesaro uh in a bout. Like don't do that. That won't work.
Imagine.
Yeah, that would be something if that happened. Jaime Munguia versus Camille Cesaro. Like that would be crappy, man. That would definitely be crappy, man. Or
It's too bad Andrade signed that contract to fight Zach Parker. I would have loved for them to revisit that for Charlo.
yeah, yeah, they would have tried it again. They would have seen if they could try it again. And I think Espinosa would really make a real effort to try to make that fight. You know, so there's that,
Well,
man.
listen, Espinosa wants premium content, so the Showtime is willing.
Hmm. So
One of these other promoters gonna play ball.
uh, I don't think they're willing to play ball like that, though. You know,
Yeah,
so that's
you've seen nothing to indicate that they will.
mm-mm. No real things out there to show it.
Yeah, everybody wants PBC, PBC, PBC needs to do this, PBC needs to do that. Nobody cares what everyone else is doing, I guess.
All right. Yep. Yep. Um, yeah, this Tuesday summary, man. Thanks for joining in. I know that you're doing what is it, inventory or whatnot. So
Yeah, man,
continue to
getting some work in.
I got to be up. I guess somewhat early or whatever it is or whatnot. But just had to go in and talk about this stuff, man. And we'll see what else we got coming store later on this week, man.
Yep.
All right, then, folks. That's it for this one, and we will catch y'all later, man. Peace out.
Peace out.